Nicole. Conversations with Nicole. Let's talk about it. Tell me all about it. I'm here. I wanna know what's on your mind. Ooh, the world needs to hear from you, and I'm so glad to have a conversation to reach the nation. And it's all about you. We'll help each other to discover innovative ways to positively change the world. Let's talk about. Let's talk about. Yeah. Let's talk about Conversations with Nicole.
Greetings. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to Conversations with Nicole. I am Nicole Everett, your host, and Conversations with Nicole is a talk show based in Tallahassee, Florida, focused on connecting the community through conversations. And today is what I call Wellness Wednesday, which is an opportunity for you, me, and my guests to chat about whatever it is we want to chat about. And today we are talking about end of life planning, legally speaking. My very special guest is attorney Felicia S.W. Thomas, who is no stranger to Conversations with Nicole. She was on the earlier part of the year talking about guardianship, but now we are going to tackle end of life planning, which we kind of touched on the last time she was here and wanted her to come back to give a little bit more in depth on some of the issues and the topics around end of life planning, some of the documents and some of the actions that should take place in order to be prepared. So I want to hear from you before I bring her on. Let us know what city, what state you're tuning in from. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and this is an interactive conversation. So we welcome your comments and your questions, and you are in for quite the discussion tonight. So let us know where you're tuning in from. Again, this is a safe space for us to communicate and educate one another. And so that's what we are all about. We are live on Mondays and Wednesdays, and our focus is to inform and inspire and to, again, communicate with one another. So I see a few people on, but no comments as of yet, and that's all right. We'll check in with y'all in just a little bit. So while I am waiting for you all to log in, I am going to go ahead and introduce my very special guest, Miss Felicia Thomas. Let's see. Hold on one moment. I should have had this pulled up. So y'all bear with me just one moment. Let's see. All right, Felicia. Hold on. You know what? I don't see it. I don't see what I'm looking for. So I'm going to bring her on and have her introduce herself. So Felicia, tell the people, who are
Good
you?
evening. Good evening. I am Felicia S.W. Thomas.
Yes.
I am a practicing attorney. I received my bachelor's from the Florida A&M University. And my JD from Florida State University College of Law.
Go Noles.
Yes. I am the mother of 3. I am a business owner. I'm an author. I am a volunteer. I wear a lot of hats, and sometimes at the same time.
Right.
But I remember your question about not what I do, but who I am.
That's right. Who are you? Tell the people.
I'd like to say I am a simple country girl with simple tastes, but a sophisticated businesswoman and author. I am layered, but not complicated. I'm quiet, but not meek. I listen more than I talk, which is why many of my opponents have not seen or heard me coming. So I'm in your corner. You have a wonderful advocate.
Wow. Y'all, look, y'all I don't think y'all ready tonight, okay? That was some introduction. Yes, ma'am. But thank you, Esquire, for
Yes.
sharing all of that. We appreciate you. All right, so we got a few folks chiming in. Brother Malcolm Peterson, who is here in Tallahassee, thank you for being on with us tonight. Mr. Michael Love in Jacksonville, thank you for joining us. My sister Shayla, my blood sister, down in South Florida, thank you for being here. Dr. Taronda Lee in Tuskegee, thank you for joining us. Miss Olivia Jones, she said, "Good evening, classmates." Thank
Hi.
thank you for being here. All right. And we got Shari Williamson. Thank you for joining us. Brother Tarek and Dwelle in Stone Mountain, Georgia. Thank you for being here. And Karen Montgomery, who is in the Orlando area. Thank you for joining us. So, y'all, share this, tag somebody, let them know they need to be on here because we are going to dive in. Your questions are welcome. This is a very important topic, something that we all should be talking about, something that we all should be partaking in. Um, f- doing end of life planning for ourselves, for our loved ones, and particularly our elders. And so, yeah, we are going to really get in the weeds on this one. So I know that you had a bit of a disclaimer that you want
Yes.
to share. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do that now.
Yes. I'm giving broad legal advice tonight, so it does not create an attorney-client relationship. I also cannot answer any specific legal questions,
Okay.
but I can do what I can.
All right. Very good. And that's all we can ask you for.
Yes.
All right. So we got Miss Jeanette on in Miami Gardens. Thank you for being here. And Mr. Johnny Johnson, who is here in Tally Ho. We appreciate you, Johnny. Thank you for being here with us. So, end of life planning, legally speaking. I actually, before we came on, I was telling Attorney Thomas about the various kind of checklists of end of life planning that I kind of ran across as I was preparing for tonight's conversation, which if you all Google it, you will see that these lists can be pretty extensive, which you want, right? Because you want to be able to
Right.
cover all aspects, financial, um, any funeral arrangements
Yes.
and things of that nature. But we are going to focus primarily on wills, on healthcare surrogates, and power of attorneys, correct?
Yes. And living wills.
And living wills.
Yes.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to start off with asking our viewers if any of you have some form of end of life planning in place currently, whether that is a will, trust, um, healthcare surrogate, 5 wishes, any of those sort of things. Let us know in the comments, just if you have anything. I'm not going to ask you what you have, but if you have anything, let us know what it is. Or if you do, rather. And I will start off by saying I do. I do have a healthcare surrogate. Um, you know, all of that is taken care of. I do need to work on a will, um, but I do have the healthcare surrogate. So I have thought that was something important because I feel like if something were to happen and I was incapacitated and really couldn't speak for myself, I wanted to have a trusted person that I
Yes.
would um operate or function on my behalf based on my wishes. So,
Yes.
mhm. All right, nobody is chiming in. It's okay. Y'all being quiet tonight. It's all right. We gonna push this right on along.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
So I see Janetta on here with us. She said I need to update my documents. Okay.
Yes.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Janetta, and we'll continue to mention that throughout the night. But yes, you
Yes.
definitely want to update them, especially if there have been any changes
Yes.
to your with your relationships or with the person maybe that you had down. Maybe they are not around for whatever reason. So yeah, definitely keep those things up to date. All right. So Johnny mentioned burial policy. Okay. Thank you,
Yes.
Johnny.
Hmm.
All right. Olivia said yes. Okay. And my sister Shay said no. All right, Shay, we need to work on that. We'll talk about it when I see you. All right. So so let's start with like what you think like the basics in terms of, end of life planning. Like what's some of the basic things that folks should have in place?
4 primary documents.
Okay.
That's a will,
Mhm.
that's a durable power of attorney,
Mhm.
a healthcare surrogate, and a
Mhm.
living will. All of these documents can work together to keep your family out of turmoil when you pass away.
Right.
Because with no planning, it's chaos can erupt, and I've seen it. So
Mhm.
I encourage everyone to have at least one or two of the documents, if not all of them. And I
Mhm.
highly recommend that you talk to your family, because end of life planning doesn't have to be as ominous as it sounds. It's
Mhm.
actually a very sound decision, an intelligent decision, a loving decision.
Yes.
So if you don't talk about it, it creates problems.
Mhm.
So have that conversation. It may be difficult, it may be awkward, but have it anyway. And
Yes.
plan early when you feel your strongest. I feel I can live forever. If you're 18, you can create a will. You don't
Mm.
have to be a millionaire. You have something you want somebody to have. So sit down and create a will, update them periodically,
Mm.
once a year, every 5 years. Well, right now I want to get into what makes a will.
Okay.
Okay. So a basic will, I'm sure everybody knows what a will is. It's the written expression for the distribution of your property, your assets to the people that you want to have it.
Okay.
Florida law is very specific about how a will should be written. Number one, it has to be written. So
Mhm.
it can't be verbal. It can't be, well, mama wanted me to have this,
Mm.
but if it's not in writing, it's not going to happen. It
Mhm.
must be signed by the testator. That's the person creating the will. I can't tell you the number of times I've seen wills that where the testator signed, where the witness signed.
Oh no.
Yes, I have seen it. It has to be signed in the presence of two witnesses,
Mm.
and it has to be notarized.
Okay.
So the two witnesses watch you sign, the notary watches everybody sign, and
Mm.
then the notary signs. Now,
Okay.
there are little nuances to this. The notary can't be related to one of the witnesses.
Mm.
The witnesses can't be anybody that benefits from the will.
Oh wow.
Yes. So these are reasons why I highly recommend you have an attorney review your will. I mean, you can download these documents from the internet, you can buy them at these office supply stores, but
Right.
if you don't complete it correctly, you end up with an invalid will.
Mm.
So spend a few dollars, even if you do it yourself. There's no special paper, there's no special language. It just needs to be clear about what you have and who you want to have it.
So let me ask a question. You mentioned a number of things that are news to me in terms of the types of witnesses and the notary and all of that. Is that unique to the state of Florida or is that kind of across the board?
No, every state is different.
Okay.
Some states, their requirements are similar to Florida's, but if
Okay.
you're in another state,
You need to find out.
consult with an attorney from that state. So I can't speak for other states,
Okay. So
but
you're
in
speaking for
Florida,
Florida. Okay. Got
Florida
it.
only, right?
Got it.
So have someone look at it, spend a few dollars to make sure it's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some people are a little afraid of what it costs to have a will done, but it costs more if it's improper.
Indeed.
Right. So Florida has a law called the elective share
Mm-hmm.
for spouses.
Okay.
So if you're still married, you must leave something for your spouse. It's required, or minor children. So if
Mm,
you haven't been together for 20 years or you filed and it's not final, you are still married. So you cannot disinherit your spouse, even if it's in your will.
don't
The
tell me.
law,
Don't
the
please.
law,
You've had people
yes,
that try to disinherit their
yes, they will do it. So
okay.
the law will protect them. So again, have somebody look at it,
Mm-hmm.
because what you end up with is intestate succession, which means you don't have a will or it's an invalid will. Florida law dictates who gets your stuff.
Wow.
So if you're having fights with siblings, or you on the outs with your children,
Mm,
and you pass away without a will and your intent was not to give them anything, well, the law dictates that they get it.
mm-hmm.
So, for instance, if you die with a spouse, no children, the spouse gets your assets. If you have children and a spouse,
Mm-hmm.
half of the estate goes to the spouse, the rest of it goes to the children in equal shares.
Mm,
So, again, make sure your will is proper, have somebody review it. If you want to update it, go and see someone. If you write it, you want to update it yourself. If you handwrite on it, it doesn't change that will.
mm-hmm.
So you want to update it. There are amendments, there are codicils, things like that, other nuances. But again, you're going to hear me repeatedly saying, I'm not trying to get business for myself, but
Right.
I'm encouraging you to get that will,
Indeed.
get it done. Now, do you
So
have
let
a
me
question?
yeah, we do. Let me pause real quick. My mom just joined us. Thank you for being here, Mom. Appreciate you. And Salsa Diva, your law school classmate, is on. And also co-sign that's right. You can't disinherit your spouse in Florida. We got Miss Polly Hamilton on with us, who is here in Tallahassee. Thank you for being on, Miss Polly. She said, "Is it legal to write your own will with a notary? Which one is best, a will or a trust?" So she got two questions
Right.
there.
So the first part of that question is, you must have two witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Two, not one,
Okay.
but two. As far as a will or a trust, it just depends on what you want to accomplish. Now,
Mm,
tonight I'm talking about wills. There are attorneys who draft trusts. I'm not going to really get into those tonight,
okay.
but it just depends. That's
Mhm.
why you talk to an attorney, so they can help you decide which is best for you.
Yes.
The other thing I want to point out is that in a will, you want to appoint a personal representative. That's the person that you designate to handle your affairs.
Okay.
Now, most people will appoint their children.
Mm-hmm.
What I recommend is that you know your children. We all want to leave something to our children. You
Okay.
got to know them well. You have to know who you are putting in charge of your affairs. Now, they have those few children who are on it. They are responsible. They take care of their own affairs.
Mm-hmm.
But you got that one child that can't get out of a wet paper bag.
Oh.
Do not, do not. I highly recommend that you do not put that person in charge. There's no
Okay.
law against it, but you are entrusting them to have your wishes executed.
Mm-hmm.
And you know that there's always that one that's just wants to hold up everything. This is
Yeah.
what I want to do. So think about giving that child their inheritance before you die and
Mm.
leave the rest in the will.
Right.
So a lot of people want to appoint maybe the oldest child, the male child. They can appoint whomever they want for whatever reason. But
Mm-hmm.
I've seen it too many times. They've appointed someone who either never gets it done, or gets it done wrong, or they wait forever to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's think about, that's why you need to have a conversation with the family. Talk to people, talk to your family, make that decision. With all of these advanced planning documents, this end of life planning, it's a running theme.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be a family member, a trusted friend,
Mm-hmm.
because this, you toiled your whole life for the things you have.
Mm-hmm.
You want it handled properly. So it doesn't mean you don't love them. It just
Right.
means I know you, but I want my things handled properly.
Right.
So again, just talk to your family and have your will reviewed by an attorney.
Okay, very good. We got
Okay.
Alex Williams joining us. Thank you for being here. And then Salsa said, Attorney Thomas knows exactly what she's talking about. Okay.
Yes.
Whew.
So, any other questions about a will?
I think that's at least not for me. I mean,
Yes.
you've already said enough that I need to explore and look into in terms of the trusted person, and just kind of laying out the things that I, and I'm speaking for
Right.
myself, want to bequeath to someone. So,
Yes. Yes. Because I
mhm,
can go over the common life planning mistakes that people make all the time. They don't keep their records,
mhm,
or they're scattered. They're not in one place. So
gotcha.
people are hunting. It's a scavenger hunt when you've passed away. Because if they can't locate your will, your assets will be probated intestate. So
Mm.
everything you wanted in your will is null and void if they can't find it, and the law dictates who gets your things.
What would your recommendation be in terms of where you should keep the records?
I would suggest first a safety deposit box,
Mhm.
uh, a safe in your home,
Okay.
uh, somewhere in your office if you have an office, even a shoebox under the bed, but tell somebody where it is.
Mm,
You
mhm.
want to keep it safe.
Yes.
You don't have to reveal what's in the will, but you do need to let someone know where it is.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
again, that's the second common mistake, not telling people where your documents are.
Yeah.
Put them all together in
Mm,
one place. And then letting your emotions rule your decisions. Again, that's choosing the right person to execute your affairs.
right.
That's important. And
Mhm.
then not getting them in order too late. I mean, 60s, 70s, you don't have to wait to do this, because
Mm,
nowadays dementia, Alzheimer's is very prevalent,
yeah.
and the person's exhibiting signs of incapacity.
Mhm.
It could be very difficult to have them execute these documents now, because they
Yeah.
need to understand what they're signing
Mhm.
at all times. So you don't have to wait. And then again, naming an inexperienced or irresponsible person.
Mhm.
And again, waiting too late. I'm going to beat that drum often. The earlier you do it, the better. And
Mhm.
you can always change it as many times as you like.
So I'm gonna pause right here. Again, you said a lot. I
Yes.
want to get our viewers involved, and Olivia just said that she needs to revise her documents. For those of you who don't have a will, I'm curious as to why you don't. Why you don't. So if you don't mind sharing, just tell us, what might be hindering you. And I will start. For me, I think it's just kind of like a fear of the unknown
Yes.
from the
Yes.
point of like what it all entails, which again, I'm glad we're having this conversation tonight. And then I've heard that it's expensive, so the cost associated with it as well. Um, I don't know. I feel like I don't have a whole lot to disperse or give
Right.
to people. So maybe it won't be that. expensive, and I don't know if it's based on how much stuff that you have in terms of the cost, or is it by the pages, or what? So I don't know.
Well, that's why it's important to at least have a consultation
Mhm,
to
mm,
see what it is you want to accomplish. There are sometimes ways to avoid probate, but then I recommend a will as a backup and
mm,
spend a few dollars. Some attorneys, a lot of attorneys do charge consultation fees, but don't let that scare you away
okay,
because again, you might not think you have a lot, but what you do have, you want it to go to that person that you want to have it.
gotcha.
And that's got to be worth something.
Okay. Miss Jeanette said Aretha, and I assume she meaning Aretha Franklin. She said Aretha's final will was found under a cushion on the couch.
Yes,
Wow.
right.
Okay.
So yes, tell somebody where it is.
How long it take them to find that, I wonder?
I'm sure too long, too long.
Right.
And if they can wait to probate it,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of time wasted looking for it.
Yeah,
What if
money.
somebody had sold that sofa
Right.
or burned it?
Yep. Yep. Exactly. So my mom said the attorney is absolutely right. Okay. Thank you, Mom.
Thank you.
All right. So we talked about wills, and that's a very important document to have. And so durable power of attorneys, tell us kind of what that is and why. Who is that for?
Right.
Mm,
That's for anyone who wants a trusted person in charge when they cannot make decisions for themselves.
mhm,
So, power of attorney delegates another person to act for you, making financial, legal decisions, sometimes even health decisions. The difference between a power of attorney and a durable power of attorney is with a power of attorney, once you become incapacitated, that power of attorney is no good. It's null and void.
mhm,
Okay. A durable power of attorney survives incapacity. So if you are in a coma, of course, you can't speak for yourself, that person can continue to act.
mhm,
And it also must be in writing and it must be notarized and witnessed. So you're giving the person, this is a great responsibility. So again, choose wisely
mhm,
because I have seen people take powers of attorney and go and empty somebody's bank account, change the title on people's
oh,
cars. Yes, there are laws against that. People can be held criminally and civilly responsible.
mm,
So again, don't just give it to anybody. I've seen people they give one person a power of attorney and then the next day they've given somebody else a power of attorney, which is
mm,
why you should do it early
mhm,
because once a person is on the cusp of incapacity, they
mhm,
may not know what they're signing. Somebody can talk them into giving them power of attorney. And
mhm,
then I don't like this person doing it. So I'm going to take mama or daddy to an attorney and have them make me the power of attorney.
mm,
So there are instances where you can have co-attorneys. In fact, that's what you call, you're the person with the power, but
mhm,
it can cause problems if you don't agree. So you can have a backup person, but usually it's if you have that right person in place, you can stem a lot of problems.
yeah,
So they can act for you to pay your bills, your mortgage. They can change things or your insurance. So it's a great responsibility.
okay,
And when we talked about guardianship last time, it can prevent a guardianship situation where the person can't sign a durable power of attorney and the only option is guardianship,
mm,
which can be very expensive, very intense. People lose rights. We're not going to get into much of that tonight, but
we have to watch
have that,
the other
yeah,
show.
right. Have that in your end of life planning toolbox.
Mhm, yeah,
So, right.
okay. Um, I see Mr. Zach has joined us, and he said it's best to have one and not need it,
Exactly.
need one and not have it available. It's not expensive and it's necessary.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Absolutely.
Zach. So, for those of you who are just joining us, I'm on with attorney Felicia S.W. Thomas. We are talking about end of life planning, legally speaking. She is an attorney here in Florida, in the Big Bend area. And we've been talking about wills and about power of attorney and durable power of attorney. And so she mentioned 4 documents that you should have, maybe not all 4, but a couple of the 4,
Yes.
wills, power of attorney, healthcare surrogate, and living will.
Yes.
So again, we've talked about wills, we talked about power of attorney. Anything else we should know about power of attorney?
Choose wisely.
Okay. I think that is the message of tonight. Choose
Yes.
wisely.
Yes. And just like he said, it's less expensive to do that durable power of attorney than guardianship, which can be prohibitively expensive.
Okay. Got it. All right. I'm gonna get our viewers involved. Anybody have a durable power of attorney or power of attorney? Let us know in the comments if you do. If you're watching the replay, let us know if you do. Let us know. Let us know. Let us know. I'm just curious. I'm just kind of polling the folks to see
Yes.
who has something. Because I think, you know, and I'm gonna just take a moment to um talk a little bit transparently. I think,
Yes.
in the Black community specifically, sometimes to talk about these issues, we feel like we may be jinxing
Yes.
ourselves or our family members or what have you. Like if we're talking about dying, then we're gonna die.
Yes.
I mean, we are going to,
We
but
are.
it's not going to speed up the process
Nope.
because we are planning, making plans for the end of our lives. So, I just want to put that out there because, I think that's one of those kind of superstitions that we in traditions culturally that we've kind of held on to.
Yes.
And I just want to say here public, we need to release that.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. I've seen stories, been part of stories where people have died without wills and family members just go in the house and just take what they want.
Mm,
Um, person hasn't been dead 24 hours and they're already helping themselves to things in the house. And it's disgusting, really.
mm,
Uh, so this kind of planning can avoid that
yeah.
to some degree, because if
Mhm.
they're determined to do it, will or no will. But if you have things in place, the personal representative can possibly recover some things that should not have been taken.
Right. Okay. All right. So, choose wisely. Choose
Yes.
wisely. All right.
Yeah.
So, healthcare surrogate, what would you have us know about that?
Okay, it's a type of advance directive. It's actually the 5 wishes,
Okay.
because you're designating someone who can make decisions for you, healthcare decisions, when you can't make them for yourself.
Okay.
This person can go to the doctor with you. They can request your medical records. They can make sure you get the right medication. So it's an important document as well. So have that in your toolbox. And again, you can change that as often as you like.
Okay. And so, with healthcare surrogate, is again, like you said, it's basically just if they can make some medical decisions for you
Right,
if you are
right,
not able to.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also have a backup as well. But
Okay.
again, choose wisely because people are emotional when, their parents or whomever are sickly and they need a lot of care.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got someone who thinks daddy should get this kind of medication, this kind of care, and then you got another child who thinks they should have this. So healthcare surrogate ends all of that. It's written, and you know who you want to make a decision. If anybody else disagrees, they just have to disagree.
Yeah.
But putting it in writing
Mhm.
saves a lot of headache
Yeah.
and a lot of expense.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Indeed. And a lot of the guessing out of it.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah. All right. Okay. Healthcare surrogates. So
yes,
again, encouraging folks to review those documents. And I'm gonna just quickly look up like the 5 wishes because I know that's a popular one here
yes,
in Florida. In fact, they used to give those documents away.
yes.
Um,
You can download them. They are free.
mhm.
It you're writing down how you want to be treated,
Yes.
what kind of medical treatment you want, how comfortable you want to be.
Mhm.
If you have lifelong grudge against someone, you can write that down, make amends,
Mhm.
and how you want to be treated as you are passing away. So you can put anything you want in it. It's in writing, and you give it to your family, give it to your doctor,
Mhm.
so they all know. There's no guessing about what you want.
Yes. So I just put it in the chat, but that's the link to a sample. And, basically it is saying you choose this person to be your healthcare agent. Um, you also have wishes about um, what support treatment means to
Yes.
you. So it gives
Mhm.
all of these types of um,
Right.
all of these types of things. So if you have not done it, take a look at it and consider it, and give some thought to these things
Yes.
because you want to make an informed decision while you are, capable and
Yes.
able to. All right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. All right. So Johnny is asking, what is the average cost to have these documents prepared?
Well, that's a question for whomever you consult, because some attorneys charge differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I would recommend you make some calls. You can contact the Florida Bar and request the names of probate attorneys, and just have the consultation to find out. And, talk to multiple attorneys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great suggestion. You
Yes,
wanna I mean, just like if you are looking to hire somebody to do some repairs to your
yes,
home or, any type of service like that, you wanna definitely, get multiple,
yes, yes.
um,
Shop around. I won't be offended.
quotes. Right, right. Multiple quotes or,
Right.
see if they offer a discounted initial consultation or a free
Yes,
consultation. So definitely shop around for that.
yes. I'd like to point out that if you're 55 and older, you can go to the senior center where
Mm,
they have volunteer attorneys who can prepare some of these documents for you at
mm,
no cost. You can go to legal services
mhm.
where they prepare documents on a sliding scale. So there are multiple ways to get it done.
Yes. Okay, so those are some options as well. So you definitely, again, and we're talking state of Florida. So, for residents of Florida, those are some avenues, some resources that you can tap into. I see Mr. Ozzy Daniel is joined us from Virginia Beach, Virginia. I appreciate you being here, Ozzy. We actually had Ozzy on Monday talking about gratitude. So thank you, Ozzy, for being here. All right. So for again, those of you who are just joining us, we are on talking about end of life planning, legally speaking, with attorney Felicia S.W. Thomas, who is an attorney here in the state of Florida. And we've been talking about wills, about durable power of attorney, healthcare surrogate, and then the last of the four, the Fantastic Four,
Yes.
that we should consider having in our end of life planning arsenal is A living
A,
will.
a
So
living will,
talk to
right?
us about living will, what that is.
Okay. It's sort of a combination of the healthcare surrogate and some of the 5 wishes in the healthcare surrogate document.
Okay.
It's a written expression regarding your medical treatment in case of a terminal illness.
Mhm.
If you're incapacitated, you are writing how you want to be treated. Do you want to be kept on artificial life support? Do you
Mm.
want feeding tubes?
Mhm.
And, doctor has to say that you're at that stage. So this is a document to other people telling them this is how I want to be treated. You might feel differently, but this is what I want. I don't want to be on a machine.
Right.
So, and they have to honor that wish. The doctors will honor that wish, even if adult children come in and say, no, I want you to keep them on as long as possible,
Mhm.
which is why this document is witnessed. It must be witnessed by
Yes.
2 people. It doesn't have to be notarized, but I recommend you have it notarized.
Mhm.
So there's absolutely no doubt about what you want.
Right. So
So,
Zach said that he had a DNR in place, and a DNR, for those who don't know, is a do
do
not
not
resuscitate.
resuscitate. Yes,
Mhm. And he prepaid for his funeral service.
absolutely.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing that, Zach. I think that it's, important for, again, us to tackle these matters,
Yes,
sooner rather than later. As you said, don't you don't have to wait until you are up in age to do this. I will say that I have not done all of that, Zach, but
right.
I have witnessed it with my mom, and my
Hmm.
mom she had already started doing these types of things, but she
Yes,
really got into it when she started taking care of my uncle, which was her
yes.
younger brother, who did transition. It's been almost about 10 years ago now, but
Hmm.
she had to go through all of his
Yes,
personal things, like
yes,
everything, from his taxes to his retirement, his Social
yes,
Security, all of that stuff.
yes.
He had to plan his funeral,
Right.
all of that. But she had some of these conversations with him prior to him transitioning. So some things were taken care of. So that whole power of attorney stuff. So she, as a result of that experience, started doing these things for herself.
Yes,
Mm,
yes.
yeah.
And just like Zach said, it's a good idea to prepay for your funeral as well, so you get to decide
Yeah.
how you want things handled.
Hmm.
There are pre-need policies that you can. It's a contract,
Hmm.
and you can keep that with your documents. It's another end of life planning document. Again, it's a loving thing to put all those things together
Yeah.
for your family, so they know exactly what you want. In the event that you do lapse into a coma and nobody's guessing about what you want.
Right. Indeed.
So
All
yes,
right. So that living will, you said, is kind of a combination of
of the
like,
5 wishes and the healthcare surrogate, right?
mm-hmm,
So there are certain documents, records you should keep at
mm-hmm,
all times. Your tax records, generally for 6 years. An
mm-hmm,
inventory of all of your property, even down to the jewelry, your silver,
mm,
your coin collection, whatever is sentimental to you, that has value to you, and you want certain people to have it. Your certificates of insurance,
mm-hmm,
your wills, your advance directives, and your powers of attorney. These are all documents that you should keep, and your property records for 7 years. Keep those together, keep them where someone can find them.
mm-hmm,
And periodically, on your birthday, your anniversary, when you schedule your wellness check, do a legal check. Do it at the same time. And if
mm-hmm.
you want to change anything, do it then.
Hmm. So you mentioned, and annually doing like a check, uh,
Yes.
checking over it and making any
Yes.
surrogates,
Yes.
which I think is a really great idea. I had not thought of that, but
Mhm.
um, you know, again, like we talked about initially, things change,
Right.
and so you want to keep those things up to date.
Right.
Mm,
Especially if there are significant changes. Now, if you have a will where you're leaving everything to your spouse, but then
mhm,
you get divorced and you don't change the will,
mm.
you're leaving those things to
Your
that
former
person.
spouse
Right.
will get everything, right?
Yes. Yes. You go through all of your documents.
Mhm.
If your spouse is your beneficiary, if they are your pay on death beneficiary in your bank account,
Yes.
go through those things and make sure you update them. That's why it's good to have a list of all of your things, your stocks, bonds, annuities, anything that has a beneficiary. Those items are not probate assets, but they are important.
Hmm.
So again, check periodically to make sure everything's up to date.
Yes. All right. So we have JC Authentically You Counseling joining us from Orlando. Thank you for being here. And my mom asks, who should keep the will?
Who do you trust?
Okay.
It comes down to that. You should, if you don't want them to actually hold the will, again, you can put it someplace and let somebody know where it is.
Okay. So you don't have to necessarily have somebody have it.
Right,
Hmm.
right.
But you should know,
They should know where it is.
okay.
Yes. And if
Hmm.
you move it, let them know you've moved it.
Now, let me ask you this. Should you have multiple copies of the will?
Yes, you can have an original, and the original needs to be filed with the probate, but you
Okay.
can make copies. And if
Mm,
the original can't be found, that copy can be used, but it has to be self-proving, which means that it's authentic on its own.
and how can it be authentic on its own?
It just have that language at the back of the will, a separate
Mm,
document.
okay.
So again, that's why you should go to an attorney, because you may not know that. If
Right.
you have just copies and you don't know where the original is and it's not self-proving, you might have an issue.
Mm, okay. Gotcha. Zach commented and said that he and had to meaning,
Mhm.
do the DNR and prepay for his funeral
Wow.
services. He said, I had to because I was diagnosed with cancer and they gave me 90 days to live.
Oh,
I did
wow.
it only because I was forced to. Now that I'm free of cancer, I have to update my will because all my kids are over
Over 8.
18.
Well,
Mhm.
I am so happy to hear that, but we don't want something like that to be the reason.
Right.
We already have it in place, and
Mhm.
thank God you're cancer free, but
Right.
anything can happen, an accident, you can hit your head, have a knee, we don't know. But if
Yeah.
you don't have it in place already, then
Mhm.
you're leaving people to guess about what you wanted,
Yeah.
and the law dictates who gets your things. And I
Mhm.
know you don't want that.
Mm. Not at all.
Yes.
Johnny said, what happens when more than one will is presented?
It's the last will signed,
Mm,
because if you make a new will, it revokes the prior will.
that's a
And
good
if you
question.
right, so if you got multiple wills, then that could create a will contest.
Mm.
You end up in court fighting over which one is the original, the correct one.
Oh, wow.
That's why it's important to tell someone where it is, because you might have a will that was done 10 years ago
Mhm.
and the testator made a new one like a year before he or she passed, but nobody can locate it. So all you have is the one done 10 years ago.
Mm.
So
Whew. It's a lot to this.
yes, yes,
It is a lot to this. All right.
right.
So I've taken notes, but boy, the recap, I think the words of tonight are choose wisely.
Yes.
But we've also talked about keeping good records, being able to locate the records or people knowing where the records are. And don't wait a long time to do
Right.
these to have these documents in place,
Right.
right? We also talked about inventorying your property,
Yes.
having all your paperwork outside of this, also property records, certificates of insurance, bank account information,
Yes.
as well
Yes.
as beneficiaries on those accounts. All of these things are important to have.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I'd like to throw in one more little thing. If
Yeah, what you got? What
you've
you
all heard about heirs property,
got? Mm-hmm.
and one way to prevent that from the beginning is to have a properly done will,
Mm,
because you don't want to end up with property in a deceased person's name
mm,
and it keeps being passed down from generation to generation.
mm-hmm.
And now you got 40 people who can inherit from that deceased person.
Mm,
And now you got so much work to be done to untangle it. If
mm-hmm.
you are one person, two people paying property taxes, that does not give them a superior right over everyone else.
Mm.
So we could go into heirs property. That's a whole conversation within itself, a whole other show.
Yes, it
But
is.
also, talk to an attorney about making sure you've properly deeded things.
Mm,
There are ways to avoid probate, which includes deeds, but that's another conversation. But if it's done improperly or not at all, you could have an heirs property situation.
mm. Okay. Yeah, I know. Heirs property has been a big topic.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
Here in Tallahassee, there have been several workshops that have been taking place in the
yes,
community throughout the summer. The county and some other organizations have
yes.
put on some heirs property. I think you were part of one of those, weren't you?
Yes, I've been a part of several, and I
Okay.
just can't beat the drum hard enough.
Right.
And start early with, if you buy some property, make sure it's properly deeded to whomever you want to have it. You
Mm-hmm.
got to start there.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna have to have you come back on and talk about that, right? How to do
Yes,
that property properly.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
All right, so we got a couple questions, and we have Miss Kia who has joined us. Thank you for being on. All right, can you address programs like Susie Orman's will and trust info in her retirement program? Are you familiar with that one?
I am not familiar with that, so
Okay.
that's not
Yeah.
something I can address.
Okay. Thank you for that question, though.
Yes.
And then Rennie said, in the case of the property, is it best to place it in a trust?
Again, it depends. If you have a lot of property, a lot of different properties, you discuss it with an attorney, because sometimes a trust is not the best vehicle,
Right.
because trusts are legal instruments. If
Mm-hmm.
you put your homestead in it, you lose your tax exemption.
Mm-hmm.
So there are tax consequences
Mm-hmm.
for placing things in a trust. There are trusts that you can amend. There are trusts that you can't amend.
Mm.
You have to fund the trust. You can have an attorney draft the documents, but you never put anything in it, then you haven't done it properly.
Gotcha.
So again, yes, it just depends on what your goals are. So that's why talking to an attorney can help you figure out which document is best.
Gotcha. Okay. Cool. Malcolm, I'm in that situation. All right.
Mhm.
Well, hopefully this will give you some thoughts about what you might potentially do, but definitely get with an attorney to see. And
Yes.
we have Jaquetta Johnson, who is an attorney herself.
Yes. Hi, Miss Johnson.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Hmm.
So, whew, again, lots of information
Yes.
and still room for more. So,
Yes. Yes. Each of those documents can be discussed ad infinitum on their own.
Right.
So yes, but that's just basic information. That's a place to start.
All right. And so with that, I want to give you an opportunity to give any closing remarks and tell folks how they can connect with you.
Yes. Like I've been saying all evening, consult an attorney, start somewhere.
Mhm,
Don't let the superstition keep you from making a smart decision, a sound decision. Talk to
mhm,
your family and make sure you are choosing wisely the person. It can be the same person in all of these documents, it can be different people. Make sure they get along
mhm,
and go see an attorney. Don't be afraid of a few fees that can save you a lot on the back end.
mhm.
I can be reached at 850-366-3910 or on my website at info@fswthomaslaw.com. I'm
Okay.
just one of a few attorneys who can help you in this area. And if I can't help you, I will help you find someone who can.
All right. So you see her contact, the law office of Felicia S.W. Thomas, and her email address and phone number are there. So please reach out if you are in need of assistance, and you can service people throughout the entire state or
Yes,
okay.
yes, throughout the entire state.
Okay, very good. So again, if you are in Florida, she can serve you. And if she can't, she will try to
Yes,
assist you with finding somebody that can serve you. Jaquetta is giving you a wave, so
yes,
thank you there. So I hope you all have found this to be informational, beneficial. If you have, let us know in the comments because we just want to know. This is kind of a little off the beaten path, but
yes,
it is Wellness Wednesday,
yes,
and this is definitely promoting wellness and definitely something we should be talking about.
yes.
Should be talking about. So I know the holidays are coming up, and I encourage us
Mhm.
to have these conversations with our family members. Let's keep this conversation going. So please
Yes,
share this video with a friend, a family worker, a coworker, a church member, somebody that you think will benefit from it and the seeds will be planted or watered for them to go ahead and get these documents in place in their lives, and not
yes,
only their lives, but the lives of their loved ones. So,
yes,
mhm.
yes.
I see a few people chiming in. Authentically, you counseling, good information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Johnny, very informative, much needed communication. Yes, 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 yes. Thank you, Mr. Johnny. Miss Polly, good information. Thanks. Our pleasure. Thank you, Miss Polly, for joining us tonight. Malcolm, very good information. Thank you, Brother Malcolm. Appreciate you. Yeah, I want to see all of us win and
Yes.
not be giving up our properties to the state or our possessions to the state.
Hmm.
So we can prevent that from happening by putting these documents and these plans, putting a plan in place.
Yes.
I told somebody recently, I'm gonna come up with an end of life plan and kit that
Yes.
we have like this checklist, but some
Yes.
things that you need because I feel like again, this is something we should be talking about and take baby steps because I know it
Yes.
can be difficult sometimes again having these conversations because people don't want to talk about death. It's morbid. We got the whole
Mhm.
superstition. I don't want to jinx
Yes.
us thing going on, but let's be intentional. Spend an hour, spend 2 hours, maybe talking about one of these documents
Yes.
or identifying, where some of the important paperwork is located. Like just start with from there. Like
Right.
where are the insurance policies? Where are they located? Let's just start with that. Where's the health insurance information? Right? Let's identify the location of those things. Like if we could just start with the location of those things and the condition of those things
Mhm.
and updating them annually. right? Just like we have open enrollment every year, right?
Yes.
Right? Open enrollment October through December or so. You get an opportunity to change whatever,
Mm-hmm.
right? So let's treat these types of things in that same manner. Okay. Let's treat these things in that same manner. Okay, we got a few more folks chiming in. Coach Merv, excuse me, he says, sure, we'll share this. I would love for her to speak to our parents.
Yes.
Worth paying for. All right. Coach Merv is over in Madison County. So
Yes.
thank you for that comment, Coach Merv. My mom said very beneficial. Thank you, Ma. And Miss Kia, she said, yes, ma'am, a kid would be wonderful. All right, I'm gonna work on that. I am, I promise. My mom said, come
Oh,
back.
thank you.
Yes, and we got Miss Tanisha on saying hello. Tanisha, you're gonna have to catch the replay and let us know
Yes.
how it is for you. So, for those of you who are new to the platform, I invite you to subscribe to the Conversations with Nicole YouTube channel. We're here Mondays and Wednesdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and our focus primarily is on mental health and wellness in Black and Brown communities. And so, again, although we talked about end of life planning, legally speaking, it is all part of our wellness, right?
Yes.
All right, very good. Excuse me. Well, I want to thank you, Attorney Thomas.
Welcome.
A
Thank you
wealth,
for having me.
my pleasure. A wealth of information. Y'all reach out, connect with her, and get these things taken care of. We will not be live next Monday because it is Christmas. So family time, but we will be live next Wednesday talking about Black people die by suicide too. So, hope to see you then. Y'all have a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday. I'll be safe out there, and we will catch y'all next time. Have a good night.
Good night.